the time has finally arrived for the Give and Go to talk African football.
Let's do it, man.
And we've got a lot to talk about as Africa will be providing us with 9 teams at the World Cup, my friend. 9 teams. And I think it could make for some very interesting storylines, for some dark horses potentially. There are some very good teams. There are some very mediocre teams. There are some terrible teams. And there are some crazy things happening right now in World Cup qualification with big names potentially being out.
Yeah, starting with Group A action. I'm just going to say it right now. Egypt's definitely topping this group. They have a 5-point lead against Burkina Faso, who I did see play against Guinea-Bissau this weekend, just to see if Burkina Faso could contend against Egypt. Faso's a good team, and I hope they somehow get very close to World Cup qualification, but Egypt's just better than all of these teams, man. Egypt's just better than all these teams. And what makes me excited about Egypt specifically is, in years past, Egypt has always been a very good defensive team. It is what has gotten them to finals against Senegal, for example. You add in the fact that you have Mohamed Salah up top, and it made them a very interesting side. But now when I look at them offensively, there's just more quality, man. You have Zizou underneath Mohamed Salah. You have Mustafa Mohamed up top. He's a solid striker. But now on the other side, bro, Omar Marmoush. That's who you have on the other side. And then you still have the defensive stalwarts of El Shenawi and Abdul Monem. So this Egypt side has only gotten stronger, in my opinion. They had a weird World Cup appearance in 2018, and I think they're here for vengeance in 2026, bro. I think this is going to be Egypt's actual appearance at the World Cup with a healthy Mohamed Salah, an informed Mohamed Salah, by the way, because it doesn't look like he's going to be slowing down. This Egypt side is here to compete at the World Cup. They're definitely topping this group.
That's a good point, man, because 2018 was a disappointing experience for them. 2022, they couldn't make it. They lost in the playoff. Yeah, I want to see Egypt at their best.
Yeah.
At their best. And I like Zizou, man. I think every international team should have a player like Zizou, man. He just improves the team so much. He's a custodian. He does a little bit of everything, man. He's so talented, and everybody knows Marmoush and Salah. I think the team is looking very, very good. Group B is where, going into today, we had a big headline with Senegal outside of the top 2. Now, after today's result, they enter the top 2 in second place, but still, they're behind the DR Congo, who made it all the way to the playoffs of Africa's region in the build to the World Cup, but ultimately lost. But they got close, bro. They got close to qualifying for the World Cup in 2022.
I have Congo topping this group too, bro. I have the Democratic Republic of Congo topping over Senegal. And surprisingly, by the way, Sudan's right there. Mm-hmm. Sudan is right there. Shouldn't be any surprise, as when you look at Sudanese club football, Al Hilal, Al Mariq are always very good in the Champions League. Al Hilal are actually in the quarterfinals right now in the CAF Champions League. So Sudanese footballers underrated in my opinion. But I do have the DR Congo going through. I just think they have slightly better offensive players than Senegal right now, specifically Bakambu, Cedric Bakambu. You have Elia, Arthur Maswaku in the fullback position providing threat. I just think the DR Congo are a more offensively threatening team, whereas Senegal, honestly, I think since the World Cup, or I guess, since winning the Cup of Nations, that was their peak. And since that time, I just think Senegal have slowly been declining. They're still a good team because they still have fantastic players. But I just think it's time for a more resurgent, a more exciting team to take it. And I think DR Congo is going to be that team.
Their biggest test is coming the next window, man. They face off against Senegal and Sudan back to back. They got to prove it to me there, because I still feel that Senegal's creeping their way back in, man. And they haven't lost, dude. They haven't lost.
True.
I just feel like there is that experiential factor for Senegal that might play a role here. But if DR Congo shows out in those 2 games, then I'm on board. Sudan, though, is at 12 points at the moment, too, man.
Bro,
so this is an unfortunate situation of 3 good teams vying for 2 spots, man.
Yeah.
And that's pretty rare in this version of qualifying to see 3 teams, because usually that 3rd team is a big drop off from the 2nd place team. Sudan is trying their absolute best, as they are also undefeated and only behind Senegal due to goal difference.
What's also really harsh about CAF qualification is there's 9 groups, right? But only the 4 best runner-up go through.
Oh yeah, I saw that, dude.
So even if you finish second, you have less than a 50% chance of going through.
Yeah, it's harsh, man.
It's harsh.
Group C, we have South Africa in first place by a good margin, 5 points.
Yeah.
With a 5-point lead over second place, Rwanda, who, by what you just described, would not be qualifying through due to that low amount of points.
Yeah.
But South Africa, with Percy Tau still in the mix and a Ballon d'Or nominated goalkeeper in their back line, is this a new resurgence that we're seeing with South Africa, bro?
I saw South Africa play today against Benin because I needed to see. I need to see with my own eyes how good this team really is. And I will say this is the best South African side since 2010.
Yeah.
They've been so poor at Africa Cup of Nations when they do make it. And finally, the game that I saw today against Benin, they were so threatening offensively, constantly getting in their opponent's box, constantly being threatening on the wings specifically. And I just haven't seen that from South Africa pretty much ever. So this team is the real deal. And the only thing is that I think this group is very easy. When you look at Rwanda and Benin as the next best sides, I just don't think South Africa would be doing as well if they had Senegal and Sudan in their group, for example. So I just think it's a product of the group that they're in. They are the best team in this group, but this group is weak. And you know what's surprising about that, brother?
Lesotho's in it.
Nigeria's in it.
Zimbabwe.
Nigeria. And let me.
I don't even want to talk about Nigeria.
No, I know.
Team, I can't believe this.
Let me just tell you some names.
I can't believe
Let me
this,
just tell you some names, bro. All right, Ola Aina, Nottingham Forest.
Ooh, baller.
Nottingham Forest baller. Iwobi, so good.
Classic.
Great footballer. Let me throw some bigger names at you.
What else you got? Yeah.
Samuel Chukwueze, a great penetrator.
A joke,
fantastic
man.
dribble penetrator.
Joke of a player.
You have Victor Osimhen.
Come on, bro.
Ademola Lookman. Ademola Lookman.
Wow.
One of the best attackers in Europe right now.
Damn, man.
And then you have Victor Boniface coming off the bench. And they tie Zimbabwe 1-1.
Yeah.
And not only that.
You know, run through it.
They're in fourth place.
Fourth, bro. Fourth.
They're in fourth place.
7 measly points. 1 win, 4 draws.
1 win.
Let me do this.
This is sad, bro. We talk about like the situation of the USA. This is worse.
Yeah. Moses Simon, shame on you. Victor Osimhen, shame on you.
Shame, bro.
Ademola Lookman, shame on you. Ndidi, shame on you, man. That should be an experiential midfielder right there. Are you kidding me? Calvin Bassey? Shame on you, my friend. Aina Chukwueze, yeah. I can't believe this, bro. This is shameful. This is so disappointing. And I would like to know what Nigerians think.
Dude.
If any Nigerians are watching this, what do you think? What frustration do you have with this team? Because it's now back-to-back times, bro. That's the problem here, is that this happened 4 years ago. And this is a Nigerian team, or rather a Nigerian country, that at one point I became accustomed to seeing every World Cup representing Africa's best, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I will never forget the matchup against Argentina, man. Like, they were such a big part of the World Cup, and now they're struggling to not just get in it, but to even compete, bro.
Yeah.
And it's not like they fell off talent-wise. The talent's there. This might be the worst team in the world when you compare the talent levels to the performances that we're seeing. Worse than Colombia, worse than USA,
straight up.
worse than these type of teams, bro. Nigeria is absolutely disappointing right now.
Yeah, and it's so disappointing. And that's why I just want to highlight South Africa's little resurgence here, because they don't have anywhere near the players of Nigeria, yet they have 13 points, 10 goals scored, 5 goals conceded. That's really good. That's a team right there. Nigeria, they have some of Africa's best players. Put them together, though, and you get a failing product. So disappointing.
Group D has a battle right now between Cape Verde and Cameroon, with Cape Verde having the edge right now with a 1-point lead. 13 points total, 4 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. Are we going to see Cape Verde at the World Cup, man?
Dude, I hope.
I've never seen them.
Look, I hope. I've been such a big fan of Cape Verde for the last 10 years. They're a small island nation of Portuguese influence. And they just have some fun players, just in general, man. And they've always come short. They've always pulled short. But now they top the group, but only by 1 point. That game against Cameroon is going to be the final for them. If they can beat them, then I do think they go through. But here's the thing. I think Cameroon's going to win that game.
They got some sneaky ballers, man.
I just think Cameroon's going to win that game.
No.
And maybe Cape Verde go through as a really good second place team, but I think Cameroon will somehow pull out on top because, as you just said, sneaky footballers. Cameroon may not have the stars, but you look all around the pitch, there's some really good players on this side. They just beat Libya 3-1. I think Cameroon are just going to ultimately end out on top.
Yeah, I don't think Mbeumo's going to let Cape Verde automatically qualify on his watch, man. He's going to personally take to that. I think he balls out in that match. You got Abu Bakar getting a brace in the most recent game. Onana in that back line. Tolo in that left back position. Yeah. There is good quality in this Cameroon team. It's sneaky because I didn't really expect it when I clicked on the flag and saw the players, but they got talent, man. They really do, and it makes sense that they're competing for that automatic qualification spot. But you're right, Cape Verde has a chance here to make a statement to show that they deserve first place, and I think if they beat Cameroon, that would do wonders for their mentality going forward. And it's possible, bro. We might have a Cinderella type story here with Cape Verde getting to the World Cup in 2026. Group E has an interesting situation at hand with one team playing 5 games, 3 teams playing 4 games, and 1 team playing 3. So it's very mismatched at the moment.
Yeah, it's because Congo just got disqualified.
Okay. Well, we have Morocco in first, and I think that's not going to change. 5 straight wins out of 5 games, 15 points. A Moroccan team that when you look at their lineup has arguably a deeper squad than what we saw in 2022. Has wingers resurging with ballers, Brahim Diaz and Ezatulaki on both sides in the series in the middle. A little bit of a different iteration than what we saw 4 years ago, but still quality at hand that can definitely provide or do something special at the World Cup. They're showcasing it so far, and what ultimately is a pretty easy group for them, taking care of business and getting first place.
Yeah, I see this as the easiest group out of the entire Africa qualification. Morocco doing exactly what they should. Win every single game. They shouldn't drop a single point. They haven't done so. So good for Morocco. Just move on. Keep winning. On paper, Morocco will have one of the best teams in Africa represent at the World Cup. So they just got to keep chugging along. Just keep chugging.
Group F has Ivory Coast in first with 16 points. Gabon in second with 15 points. Burundi in third with 10. Quite the active group here, man.
Yeah. I would love to see Gabon qualify because honestly, kind of like Cape Verde, Gabon have had some fun AFCON appearances. And obviously you look at the players they've had in the past, like Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. They have Denis Bouanga now. There's some really fun players on this Gabonese side. Problem is they have to beat the Ivory Coast in this next window. And the Ivory Coast have not conceded a single goal. And I just don't see that changing. I think the Ivory Coast will at least draw Gabon, and Ivory Coast will finish on top. Maybe Gabon go through in second.
That'd still be really good, though, because they do have the points to go through in second confidently, I would say.
Yeah, true.
And Ivory Coast, man, they've been on a mission these past couple of years, man.
Yeah, finally.
Yeah,
finally, man. Ivory Coast, for pretty much the entire 2010s, was so underwhelming. Dude. And this 2020s team completely undoing that. And thank goodness, because they do have the quality. Honestly, similarly to Nigeria, but they're actually doing something with it.
They're actually doing something with it, man. Congratulations to Ivory Coast. I do hope they go through. Group G has Algeria back on top with 15 points. And then in second place, Mozambique, vying, trying to get that first place position. Does Algeria close it out here ultimately with the lead?
They definitely will. I saw the game today. It was actually Algeria hosting Mozambique. They both were on 12 points. So this was basically to see who could finish on top. And Algeria beat them 5-1.
Okay, there's a difference then. There's a big gap.
Big difference. Amoura with a hat trick and an assist. Riyad Mahrez with 2 beautiful assists. It was a party. And Algeria are really interesting because they've been kind of mid for a couple of years, man. They've been really mid, very disappointing. Not making the World Cup this last time out, I think was very, very surprising considering, they had a prime Riyad Mahrez 4 years ago. But now, slowly but surely, throughout this qualification campaign, they've been getting better and better and better. They have Petkovic, the old Switzerland coach who coached.
Wow.
He was a coach for 10 or 8
Wow.
years. He's the coach of this Algerian side, and I think he's making a big difference. The fluidity is fantastic to see. Riyad Mahrez honestly looked great, man. He captaining the side, and I think he'll bring a lot of experience out on that wing. And then they have really good midfielders as well with Chaibi, Kendusi as well. So I think this Algeria side is growing into something really interesting at the perfect time. I actually have Algeria being, one of the surprise teams at the World Cup because I think they'll be able to do a lot of damage.
They have sneaky depth, bro.
Yeah.
Talent-wise, sure, it isn't Morocco's level, but basically the whole squad's in Europe.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Got a couple MLS players too. That's dope. But they're all in Europe. Some are playing for bigger clubs. Some are more mid-tier clubs. But Algeria, I saw on X, people were saying that they're one of the better sneaky, deep squads going into the World Cup. I do think that's true. Amoura, where does he play?
Amoura plays in the Bundesliga, I think with Wolfsburg.
Nice. I need to catch an Algeria game, man, because they are a fun team to watch in the international stage. I do remember their World Cup appearance, I believe, back in 2014. That was exciting. I want to see them back here in the States.
Yeah, same, man.
Next up is Group H with the everly consistent Tunisia.
Yep.
First place, Namibia and Liberia right behind them, 12 points and 10 points. But Tunisia looking like the team that wants to win this group with a very saddening Equatorial Guinea right behind with 7.
Sad for Equatorial Guinea. You know why, though? You know why?
Because they peaked, bro.
No. Because FIFA robbed them.
Wow.
FIFA robbed
That's
them,
crazy.
bro. They got 6 points taken away from them.
Okay,
which
I got no counter to that.
If that didn't happen, they would be in second place.
I feel like I remember hearing about what happened.
So, and this is what's even crazier. Emilio Nsue, right, who was the Golden Boot winner of the last AFCON for Equatorial Guinea, was deemed ineligible. As in FIFA said he couldn't represent Equatorial Guinea because he's Spanish.
Oh, okay, then he shouldn't.
But here's what's crazy.
What's crazy, bro?
He's been playing with Equatorial Guinea since 2013.
And they only took 6 points, bro. They should remove it from the
No,
man. It's illegal.
Why did they wait a decade to make the decision now?
Bro, that's crazy.
They should have done this back in 2013.
That's like me getting arrested for using a fake ID 10 years ago.
Exactly.
Dude,
literally exactly.
That's crazy.
And now it's literally going to cost them a chance at playing at the World Cup with their prime squad.
So they deemed it 6 points? They said 6 points is how we're going to punish you?
So the 2 games that Nsue played, they both won those matches. So they said, all right, and not only did you not win those matches, you just lost them.
3-0?
3-0 each one.
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ, dude.
So they got legitimately robbed by FIFA. Robbed.
Hey, careful, bro. Careful, all right?
I just think it's crazy because you know what's even crazier? He played today.
What?
He's back.
What?
FIFA let him. They said, you know what? All right, fine. You are Equatorial Guinean. You can play officially now, but the points are still gone.
Wow, man.
Makes 0 sense.
It's just not possible. I'm looking at the situation.
No, it's not possible.
It's not possible.
It's not
you
possible.
win out. That's tough. You get you get what? 12 points in 4 games. I mean, it's there, but to win out is tough.
They have to win every single game, and they have to hope Namibia loses 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah.
But let's end this group on a positive note. Namibia. Because Namibia
undefeated
now have the chance maybe to qualify in second place. They're not going to beat Tunisia, but maybe they finish as one of the top second place finishers. Oh, yeah. The reason why I want to highlight Namibia is because their entire squad, all 23 players, play in Africa.
Dope.
They don't have a single Euro-based player or Asian-based player, nothing like that. All African-based, and specifically, they all either play in Namibia or South Africa.
Love that, man. It's like Chivas.
Yeah, basically at the international stage. It's crazy, man. So
good for them.
And so I think for them to be in second place, I think that it's a great showing for South African region football. It's so dope that they're at this level. And I saw them play against Equatorial Guinea this weekend. Really tight match. There's a player, Dion Hotto, plays in South Africa. Baller. Absolute baller. So technical, so dynamic, incredibly athletic, really good pace. He's a good dribbler. He can pretty much do everything. An absolute baller. And Namibia have players like that throughout their entire squad. And I think that's what makes them really exciting. So, yes, Equatorial Guinea have this, sob story, but the good news is that Namibia might be able to represent a really unique side of Africa. Yeah. And I hope they continue on and finish as one of the 4 second placers.
And alongside them, perhaps one of the most historic African teams, Group I, has Ghana guiding it once again. 5 wins, 1 loss, 15 points. And in second place, Comoros. Surprised to see Mali in 4th. Did they get points taken away?
No.
Justify this one, man.
Mali are just disappointing. And I'm disappointed too, brother, because you look at Mali's peak, though it is short, man, they play dynamic football. But they just can't do it on a consistent basis. Like, they just can't. They can do it for like 2-3 games at an AFCON, and that's it. That is it. That's where it ends with Mali. And instead, Madagascar are actually doing better than them.
Good movie.
But I think Comoros deserve to be here. Comoros had a really good AFCON a couple of years ago.
I remember that.
And they have just really good French-based players that show out for them when they put on the national team shirt. They're a good side. Ghana are definitely the best team, though, in this group. I mean, when you have players like Kudus and Yaki Williams, for example, I just think offensively there's a massive class difference. Ghana will finish top of this group, even though it's a little tight right now. It would be cool to see Madagascar finish in second because they do have a good side, but I think Comoros would actually be the even bigger story. So I hope Comoros see out that second place finish.
Yeah, and looking at last place, Chad is the second worst team in all of African World Cup qualifying. Can you guess who's the worst one?
There's a worse one?
With a negative 28 goal differential.
No way.
And 0 points.
Eswatini.
Maybe?
Somalia?
Seychelles?
Seychelles or whatever.
Ranked 201 in FIFA's rankings. 6 losses, 2 goals scored, 30 conceded. Chad's only conceded 15.
That's not bad then.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
Actually, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, but the situation is bad for Seychelles. Let's look at the best second place teams just to highlight that before we move on. Right now, Gabon is in first with 15 points. Cameroon in second with 12. Senegal in third with 12. Namibia in fourth with 12. And then there's 2 more teams with 12 points.
Oh my God.
It's going to be so tight, bro. So tight. But CAF World Cup qualifying is finally back, and it's going to be an exciting one to watch. What do you have to say?
What's even crazier is the suffering for the second place teams doesn't end, because those 4 best second placers then just go into a semifinal final. The winner has to go to the Interconfederational. They don't even get an automatic spot.
That's crazy, man.
So it just doesn't end if you finish in second place.
There's more work to be done, man. Yeah. More work.